when you don't have a lot of money, you got to find a way to get the things you want. I am a big DIYer. I love it. That should not have been done by the owner. Save money by paying more upfront. Today we're talking about the actual structure of home. I like to bring up once in a while the question of DIY, do it yourself. As a real estate agent, I walk into homes where I see on a regular basis projects that were done by the owner that should not have been done by the owner. I am a big DIYer. I love it. I have always been, and part of it is by necessity. When you don't have a lot of money, you got to find a way to get the things you want, and so you do it yourself. I think that's great, and we as America should do more of that. At the same time, there should be a line. Where's the line? Obviously, if you don't have the money and you have to have that thing or that work done, then you most likely are going to either go into debt or you're going to start finding some buddies who can come and help you do it yourself. I think some of that's just good ingenuity. The line, I want to speak to the people who do have some financial means for just a moment. The line on whether you should do it yourself versus hire it done is probably going to come down to this question. Is it going to cost me more in emotional, mental, physical strain than it would financially? Then I probably should hire it done. Timing can really affect that. If it's a particularly difficult time, hire it done. That could be around a holiday. A particular holiday is about to land and you need this thing fixed. Call somebody. Call somebody. Holidays are notoriously stressful. Likewise, if it's around travel, if it's around a birth or a death, those are times to hire something done. And like I said at the outset of this is particularly for people who do have some means. Meaning you have the choice. You get to choose whether to DIY or hire it done. If you do tackle a DIY job, ask yourself how long it should take a professional, and you might want to double that for how long it will take you to do it as an amateur or a complete novice. Certain tasks I've brought up before in videos past, a house that needs a vapor barrier, for example. If you crawl under a home that has a crawl space, this is not the case on a home built on a slab, a concrete slab, but if your home has a crawl space underneath it, then there should be some sort of protective covering under there that restricts the evaporation of water rising from the ground so that it doesn't hit the woodwork, which is the frame of your house. Okay, where's the DIY part? You could probably do that. If you are of sound mind and body, you can buy 6mm or thicker plastic sheeting, crawl under your house, wrestle around in the dust, and stretch out that plastic sheeting. Make sure you're going to get a good overlap. It's not going to be perfect, but boy, it's going to be an improvement. The other side of this, if you think about encapsulation, not DIY. Encapsulation is where you're trying to completely close off your crawl space from moisture entry. This is incredible. This is such work. And when you start researching how much a company would charge to do it, ask yourself, how much would I charge to do it? This is incredible levels of work and specificity. You're really watching every little nook and cranny and crevice to make sure that moisture can't get in. That's not a DIY. For your average homeowner, it's simply not. Vapor barrier? Absolutely. Similar, if we're talking about under the house, if you needed to install insulation under your floor, that's not easy work, but it is DIY work. On the other side, if you needed to do blow-in insulation Open or closed cell foam insulation, I'm not a fan of either, by the way. Those are jobs you're going to need to hire somebody to do. If you are always driven by money and saving money, then DIY or not, you're going to be choosing the cheapest options pretty much every time. And I sympathize with that, where you are simply trying to make it by. I really do sympathize with that, because I am that many days. But I also know that sometimes you can save money by paying more upfront. This is a level of critical thinking that simply must come with adulthood and home ownership. Asking yourself how much time I'm going to have to put into it, how long will this product last, will this process last, how much would it cost to have it done the first time, guaranteed and insured and done the right way, how much time will it cost me to do it, all of these different things. Another topic I'll bring up, this is such a great example, and I hope my buddy Brad doesn't mind. He and his wife bought a house in Connecticut, built in the late 1980s, and true to form, for those period homes, there's popcorn ceiling everywhere. He hated it, and he said, I'm not hiring that done. He called a variety of different contractors, professionals who do this sort of work, and they said it'll be about $1,000 a room. And he said, absolutely not. I went to visit a couple of years ago, and he had almost every room finished. He had to buy a couple of tools, pieces of equipment specific to this job. He said, I'm down to a bathroom and a couple of closets. And he looked me square in the eyes and he said, I would gladly pay $1,000 a room for this. What's the point? If you do have means and you are choosing between DIY and professionally done, hired out work, the end result may be so taxing on you that finite fee you could have paid to begin with would have paid itself off. I think there's one more category to this. If you want to do DIY simply because you love learning, that's great. That is top tier in my book, and that's how I see myself. 9 out of 10 tasks I want to try myself. I want to try to DIY. There are certain ones I don't, but I want to learn. I want to know how my house works. I want to know how hard it is or how easy it is to repair those things. I installed a new bathroom vanity recently. I cleaned out the traps underneath my bathroom and kitchen sink recently. If you haven't done that in a while, that's a DIY task, more than likely, depending on how the piping is working in your house. Mine's PVC is twist on and twist off. And so if you've got a smell coming out of your kitchen sink, twist that trap loose, get a basin underneath it to catch the water, get you some bleach water and clean that thing out. That's a DIY task. That is not something to call a plumber for. I want to close with this thought, though. I mentioned this to my mom recently. I feel, and you're free to disagree, I feel that as you grow in your own financial maturity, as well as community standing, I feel it is our responsibility to hire some things to be done. If you want to live in a community that has great services, great amenities, great craftsmen and women, great tradespeople, you got to be willing to hire those people. It's the same in other sectors. Do you complain that we wish we had better restaurants in our town, but you never eat out? And if you had better restaurants, would you eat out? I think of this in the large scale issues as well as way down to the small ones. There are certain things that we really, really need to support our local businesses on. And there is a local plumber who needs your business. There's a local electrician who needs your business. And that should weigh on us. We should want to help our neighborhood. We should want to help our community. Tell me your thoughts. I'd love to see below what your thoughts are on hiring things done. I bet we agree on this one thing, and that is it probably depends on the job. But are there certain things, or maybe you're not dependent on the job. Maybe you're one of those people who said, I'm hiring everything done. I don't want to DIY anything. And maybe you're the other side where I'm not sure. I don't know if I can do it or not, but I want to try everything I can. Talk to me about it. I'd love to see your thoughts. Hope you're having a great day. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy summer. Enjoy it. It'll be gone before we know it. Take care.